In today's video, we're going to do a full 50-minute class using some of the exercises from my No Strings workbook. So if you have the workbook in the printed edition, you can always take notes because I'm going to show you some different variations, some different flows that are from the workbook and some that are added in addition to. So be sure to grab your No Strings workbook. If you don't have one, go ahead and go to the shop page and buy one today. You can get it electronic or ebook, or electronic or print. Sorry, that's what it's called. So anyway, I'm going to start with a long box on. So if you don't have a box, you can look into the workbook and see the different variations you can do from some of these exercises. Based on your limb length, your height, your reformer height, you may need to do some modifications. Some of you don't have the ability to put your foot bars vertical. So I'll show you some modifications without the foot bar if you cannot take it straight up. For those of you that can, you just follow along. I'm going to start with the foot bar down just because I want to do some arabesque flowing and get some really great stretching in. So standing in the well, you can see carriage is free from springs. I'm simply going to do some hip movement, and I'm going to start on the ball of my feet. So I'm a little bit in extension. I've got my lats and pecs supporting. I'm going to lower my heels, feeling my calf stretch. Then I'm going to flex in my hips, bringing my hips back, keeping my knees soft. To initiate the lift, spine extension, I'm going to start activating my lats as I press my hands down. That's going to lift me up. Once my hips are fully extended, I'm going to lift off my heels. And I'm going to bend my knees just a little bit, pushing my hand into the corner of the edge of the box, bringing myself back, lower the heels, flex the hips, drop down into that nice stretch, extend your spine to initiate movement, extend your hips, lift your heels, bend your knees, getting a little deeper, pushing, and then back up and flex and lower. Inhale to return up. Exhale as you push, getting a little lower, and then back. Taking your time. If this does not feel good on your knees and you do not feel it's appropriate for your legs, please just do a little tiny knee bend. If you feel any discomfort in your back, please modify it. Let's do two more. All the way up. Drop down the knees, pushing back, getting a nice stretch, tons of work in my core, and then drop back down. Last one. Lift it up. Bend the knees, push back, up, and down. Taking the right hand off, stay flexed at the hips, extended in the spine, and rotate. Grabbing the frame, inhale, return up, exhale, rotate. Inhale up, exhale, rotate. Lowering the body down, stabilizing the hips. If they move a little bit, that's okay, but trying to get as much torso rotation as possible. We're going to come back to the up position. This time, lift your heels, adjust them in a turnout. Really nice long through the spine, bending your knees wide into a frog as you drop down. Push the bed away and back up and stretch. Flexing at the hips, lowering the heels. Inhale, lift the chest. Inhale, continue to lift the heels. Frog shape your legs, pushing yourself away from the box and back down. One more. Only bending the knees where it feels good. And back. Let's take your feet really wide now, turned out, so my calves, side of calves, the legs are touching the frame. Placing my left hand center, and then reach down and stretch. Grabbing the opposite ankle, switch hands, right hand to center, keeping your hips back, soft the elbow, and reach and grab the other side. One more time each, switching hands, standing saw, and last one. Let's go ahead and sit on the box. Extend one leg out to a support. And again, depending on your reformer height, you may need to modify whether you need to, if you have the tall reformers like I do, the 18-inch, you may need to put a little prop on your foot. So arm is up, shoulders organized. Slowly bring the box arm down and stretch and press for 10. Inhale as you lower. 8, 7. Try to keep the foot grounded. 6, 5, 4. Inhaling into your ribs. 3, 2. One more. Switching sides. Arm is up, shoulders organized, sniffing in through the ribs as you lower for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Keep that nice long spine. 2. Looking up at the ceiling. 1. And rest. Taking that left leg, swing it on, slide it onto the box into a pigeon sit. Left hand on the knee, right hand out. Slowly flex forward at the hips. Take the right hand to the corner of the box and then bring the elbow down as you rotate. Making sure what brings the elbow down is not flexion, it's rotation. So I've got it on the corner, and as I rotate, I'm pulling as I twist. I'm getting a really nice back stretch, increasing the hip stretch, that piriformis stretch, pushing lightly with my left hand just to make sure it's supporting me. And let's do 5 more. Inhale as we lower. 4, 3, 2, 1 more. And switch. Left leg on. Adjust your body to where your hips are squared. If it causes knee pain, always quarter turn during these pigeon sit exercises. So let's go ahead and place the right hand on the knee, left hand at the corner of the box. And what gets us to the corner of the box is not flexion of the spine, it's flexion from the hips. Hand is on the corner edge. We're going to sniff in as we twist to the right, lowering our left elbow down for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Have a light pull with that arm. 4, 3, 2, and 1 more. Excellent. Let's go ahead and slide off. Let's take ourselves back to standing. I'm going to place my hands on the frame and my left leg or left foot on the gray strip or that extended edge there. If you need to pad your hands, that's fine. We're not going to be there that long, but the thumb joint can be uncomfortable. Square your body aligned, lift your heel up, engage your glute, bring the knee up and back for 5, 4, really reach it up. 3, keeping that knee bent. I like to think 2, 1 more, and rest. I like to think that the toe's trying to touch my head. Now, take a moment to grab grippies or grab a pad if you feel that you're sliding. If you have the frame that's wider, you'll just have to hold on either at the edge or if your hand is big enough to hold the whole frame. So just modify it and be sure that when you're doing this class or any of the other classes, if you find that one thing you can't figure out how to modify on your reformer that we're doing, please in the comment section, just let me know. I get an email the second you guys comment, so I can keep track of what you guys are doing and what you're wanting. So make sure if you see something in this video or any other videos, comment below and just say, hey, Sean, when you put your hands on the frame, what is going to be best for my reformer because of this reason, okay? All right, so let's go back. Put your left foot on, hands on the frame, get yourself situated. So slowly bring yourself up, bend the knee, bring the foot as you push back for 5, dropping down, pushing back, lifting up for 4, 3, 2, and one more. You'll notice restriction when I'm doing my left foot. You'll notice in some exercises I will not dorsiflex because I'm still rehabbing an ankle injury. It feels pretty good most of the time, but I just don't want to agitate it. So in that exercise, if you want to get a little deeper in the ankles, you can always drop your heels a little bit more. So let's go ahead and bring the foot bar up vertical. And as I mentioned earlier, if you can't bring it up vertical, you can modify it. I'll show you. We're going to have a seat. Option A, tuck the foot under. If you don't have that ability, just go ahead and cross your ankles on the frame. So I'm going to tuck under, and I'm going to press out until my arm is straight. This can be done with springs. Since this is a no springs workout, we're going to go ahead and do it without springs. And remember, springs are great for feedback. However, when you're doing a class without springs, control is the name of the game. Really working on control. So there's feedback 2 ways. One, from the springs, pardon me, I just belched at the same time. One, from the springs, letting us know how to work it and work against the spring doing the work. And the other feedback is not having the springs and having to really know if you're going too far or not. If you go too far, you'll go flying. So engage that shoulder, core, spine, arm is up, and go ahead and do a nice stretch. And then back up for 4 more. 3. By the end of the class, our spine should feel really good. 2. And you'll notice my range is very minimal because I don't want to tip off my hips. Last one. And I also never, ever want to go towards the ground. I always want to lengthen up. And the great thing about this, without springs, you can't actually go to the floor. So it really hammers home to some of our students that are still collapsing and dropping down that switch sides. This really teaches them. And my fast movers, I love doing no springs with my fast movers because they have to slow down. They have no choice. So let's get set. Inhale as we side bend. Exhale to return up. 3 more. 2. 1 more. So as I mentioned before and forgot before we started, let's swing around. If you cannot get the foot bar, and I apologize, vertical, if your foot bar is stuck on a standard position, this is what you'll do. You'll just do a nice stretch. So reaching through, it's that mermaid scenario. You can also do wide legs. So find a leg position that works for you. We're going to go now turn facing back. This also, you may need to reach a little lower if your foot bar doesn't go vertical. So I'm going to make sure that my sit bones are a couple finger distance away. I don't want to be off the edge or really at the edge because I need to have just enough room to roll my hips. So I'm going to start in a forward flexed hip position, not a forward flexed spine position. So lengthening forward to initiate the movement, energy at the toes, energy at the crown of my head, arms are straight. I'm going to inhale as I stack my spine, and that is going to initiate the bed to start moving open and to get my hips under my ribs. And then exhale as I roll the hips forward, stretching both my spine, my shoulders, engaging my abs. Now, my goal is not to pull the carriage in. My goal is to lift my skull up, reaching it to the ceiling, and then forward to initiate movement. Inhale, stack the spine. Exhale, roll the hips. Inhale, stack the spine. Exhale, flex forward. Inhale, stack the spine. Exhale, roll hips. Inhale, stack the spine. Exhale, flex at the hips and spine. Inhale again. Exhale to roll, getting deeper on that stretch. Abs are in. Inhale to lengthen up. Exhale to flex forward. One more. Inhale up. Exhale, roll. Inhale up. Exhale to stretch. Excellent job. Let's go ahead and turn around on our hands and knees. For this exercise, you're going to need to make sure that your feet are flexed over the box edge and hands are on the bar wider. So anytime we do knee stretches front and back, whether it's medium or light resistance, you need to have control. So I'm going to first start by sitting back in my hips. And it's going to be a shoulder exercise and hip exercise. So I'm flexing at the hips and shoulders to initiate the stretch. And then I'm going to really extend my spine, feeling my armpits reach down as I extend my spine, pulling myself back up. Let's do 2 more like that. Flexing at the hips, flexing at the shoulders, maintaining a neutral spine, and then extend up to return. Let's do 1 more like that. Engage your abs, lats, and pecs. Flex at the hips and the shoulders. And then extend the spine to return back up. Now we're going to add lumbar flexion from the pelvis. So let's go out. Stay organized in the shoulders. Roll those hips under for 5 and back. 4 and back. Try to keep the stretch in your lumbar. Try not to overly round the upper back. 3. Core is engaging in. 2. Lats are burning because they're stabilizing my shoulders with my pecs. And 1. Now right there, stay rounded. Come out of that rounding by extending the spine to come up. And then stay in that nice extension as you inhale. Exhale, flex. Try to flex lumbar spine to stretch. Inhale, extension. Exhale, lumbar. Inhale, extension. Exhale, lumbar. 2 more. I call this the elephant muscles anytime I'm teaching this. And then scooping in for 10. Kind of like Scooter, if you know that. Really good abs. I'm sweating. And rest. Because my lats are supporting the whole time. It's like hanging on a bar or hanging on a tree limb. Tons of upper body work. Really getting that core in. Powerful breath. I didn't do a super powerful breath because I've done it before in videos and it's like really annoying because my headset there. So like in Scooter, as I was mentioning, as powerful as an exhale you want to do, feel free to do that. All right, so let's go ahead and sit now. Legs are dangling in the well, and you're going to place your hands on the foot bar. So much like we just did in the kneeling, we're just going to add a little rotation to this, but let's flex in the hips and then the lower back, and then extend to come up as we sniff. Flex the hips and lower back, and then up. And flex. And lift. And flex. And lift. 1 more. And flex. And lift. Right hand off. Slowly start initiating with hip flexion, shoulder flexion, and then torso rotation. Thread it through and back up. Switch arms. Flex and rotate. And up. Flex and rotate. And up. Last one, flex and rotate. And up. Now that we've got our spine moving, let's go ahead and slide our left foot onto the ground and our right leg back on the box. I'm going to get position to where my leg is on the box, and I am at a position where my forehead probably is at bar level. So I'm going to put right hand down, left forearm on the bar. Take a big inhale and exhale to rotate. Thread the needle. Inhale, arm reaches out. Exhale, thread through. You lower your foot bar down if you need to. Keep it raised if you need to. Just keep that left shoulder organized so it's not in your ear. One more. Go ahead and put your right hand on the frame. Flex your heel as you pull back, stretching your thigh, and point and lower. You can rest your forehead. Inhale on your forearm if that feels good. Pad the knee if you need to. Flex heel, point. Engage your core as much as possible to keep your spine from hyperextending and get that really deep stretch in that quad. Last two. One more. And let's go ahead and switch sides. Swing your right leg around, place it on the floor, left leg on the box, hugged up really nice and close. Get yourself organized. Go ahead and take your left arm out. Inhale to prepare, exhale to thread. Inhale, open out, exhale, thread. For 3, and 2, and 1. Forehead on the bar. Hand can be down on the frame. Adjust yourself. Abs are in. Flex for 5 and point. Flex, stretching. 4 and point. Abs are in. And 3 and 2 and 1. Slowly turn facing I guess it's hard for me to say, facing away with your left leg on the box. How about that? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to snuggle my hip up. If you have the foot bar that's lower, this is where you're just going to do the mermaid stretch. Flex the heel if you have it in you. I'm going to stay away from flexing on this ankle, but please do if you want. Take your left hand, and to get your hand under the foot bar, you're going to rotate. So I'm underhand on that. Engage the glute, lengthen up through the spine, and stretch for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and switch. Make sure your leg is on the box, up against the bar, left arm up, right hand underhand, and the degree of turnout is up to you, stable. So to get the hand under the bar, if you're doing this variation, is just rotate to get it there. What I don't want to see is this, no flexing. And let's go ahead and for 5, 4, 3, really tight on this side, 2, if you can get all the way down and touch the toe, that's your goal without rotating, trying to keep it lateral flexion. All right, let's go ahead and step aside the carriage, push the carriage back to start with. Get into a lunge position. Start with yourself stretched forward, vertical shin, right leg is extended back, hand is on the box edge. As we lift our torso up, we're going to drop the knee down and get a quad stretch. and then back forward. Okay, let's do 4 more of those. Staying out of your lower back. Engage that glute on the rear leg. 2 more. Last one. Go ahead and step to the side. Push the carriage all the way in so you can line your pubic bone with the shoulder rest. Place your right hand on the box edge aligned with your hips. Hip stretch. Slowly lower the elbow down and twist. Your goal is to get that shoulder all the way down on the box and prevent your upper body from getting closer to the back of the carriage. 2 more. And 1 more. Let's go ahead and switch sides, step through the carriage. Going for the lunge. Inside leg back, outside leg forward. Go ahead and get a nice little stretch forward going. And inhale, bend the knee, lift up, and exhale as you move back into the stretch. Inhale and exhale. For 3, 2, 1 more. Stand up, close the carriage all the way, pivot in, align pubic bone with shoulder rest, hand on the box edge by the shoulder rest, flex forward, arm is out, inhale, and exhale for 4 more. 3, 2, 1 more. I could take like 100 of those today. All right, let's go ahead and take the box off. Just sit it at the back of the reformer. And let's go ahead and open all the way up. Let's have a seat. And let's let's put the foot bar in standard position. We're going to do some roll downs. So sit bones are on the edge, pretty much the same position you would do for stomach massage. So I've got my feet in a frog, and all I'm going to do is press out and get a nice little stretch, and make sure that if I'm wearing really slippery pants that I put a grippy underneath there. All right, so flexing the feet, frog your legs, point the foot lower and stretch, and then back up. Stack your spine, let it close all the way. Abs are in, and then flex and stretch for 4 and 3. I really want to see that proud chest when we're lifted. Shoulders are down, abs are in. 2, 1 more. Now slowly widen your feet, and let's do a little bit of more flexibility through the inner thigh, leaning back, getting your shoulders organized, pulling your core in and up, and then press out for 5. Lower down as much as you want. Inhale, lift. As you close, exhale, 4. 3. Flexing the heels as you come back. Point the foot for 2. And 1. Excellent. Lower the right foot down into the well. Left leg is on. Scoot on a little bit more. Reaching forward, holding the foot bar. You can put it vertical if you want. If you want a deeper stretch, just hold a little farther. And stretch, lifting the ball of your foot up on the floor, and then back up for 4. Nice little stretch, getting a lat stretch, little hamstring stretch, and hip stretch. 3. Make sure wherever you're sitting on the carriage that you're stable and comfortable and you're controlling, because that carriage can go flying if you're not controlling. One more. As I mentioned before, a lot of this stuff in Pilates does require concentration. With the springs off, let's switch sides. It does require tons of concentration. So your fast movers I mentioned before, your movers that don't really listen to your cues when you're telling them to concentrate where to feel it from, the no springs workouts are going to be great for them. It's going to really get them in their bodies. So let's do the same thing. Set up, shoulders, extend your spine. Right outer ankle is on your left thigh. Slowly engage the core, stretching back, lifting the foot up. Make sure you're secure, and back in. 4 more. And 3, 2, 1 more. And up. Now we're ready. Got a nice little spine stretch. You're going to put right foot bird perched over, left foot hooked under. Make sure you're in a position so when you do lay down, you're not going to hit the shoulder rest. All right. So we're going to inhale, arms out, exhale up. Stack your spine and roll it down. Arms out. Stack your spine, roll it down, arms out and up. Stack your spine, roll it down, last 2. And 1. Switch your legs, right over, left under, starting the stretch. Stack your spine and roll for 5. 4. Really think about your spine when you're rolling down. Nice vertebrae by vertebrae. 2 more. Up and roll. Last one. And up. Finish with both feet down. Scoot all the way on, pushing the carriage forward. Once your hips are up against the shoulder rest, thumbs aside the carriage. If you have, I think it's the Allegra 2, in some of the reformers where it goes over the top, you may just have to fingertip side. And if you find another modification for that, since you can't hold the frame, please let me know, add in the comment section. So thumbs on the frame or fingers on the side. And let's go ahead and stretch. Really getting that nice front rowing, round back series prep, I call this. 4, 3, 2, 1 more. Excellent. Let's go ahead and turn ourselves around, push the carriage all the way back. And we're going to put, I like to put my hands maybe center on the bed, so not too spring side and not too close. And I'm going to bring myself into a plank. Lift my heels, lats and pecs and abs are engaged, glutes are engaged, spine is long, and simply pull the carriage away so you get a nice little wrist stretch and back. Don't let it rest. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 more. Go ahead and push the carriage back and flex and stretch at the hips and ankles. Hold, and let's do that one more time. Lift your heels, bring yourself forward, pull the carriage back, and sniff in as you close to the back. And for 4, 3, once your wrists stretch, increase it. 2, I'm going a little farther, really getting that carpal stretch. 1, push it all the way back, drop down to your forearms, hands against shoulder rest, and just hold a plank. Let this be a little active rest for us. Let's go ahead and walk our feet wide to where the legs touch the frame for support. Pull ourselves back a couple inches and then bring the carriage underneath us and hold that. For those of you that want to take that support away, bring your legs together. And let's hold that for 30 seconds, staying organized in the spine, adding some ankle movement without the carriage moving as an option. Keep that carriage stable. 3, 2, 1. Drop to knees and stretch. Turn your head to the right, lower it down, lift it up, turn it to the left, loosen the neck up. One more each way. And last one. Go ahead and slowly bring the carriage back. You're going to put one knee on, and you're going to take the other leg, bring it under the foot bar. So I'm pressing with my leg up lightly. I'm going to bring my hands up, and I'm just going to hold a bird dog. Now, if I feel that the carriage isn't going to move too much, I'm going to lower the leg. Now, obviously, my reformer is a bit on a decline, so it's closing. I'm on a lot of a decline today. I didn't realize this reformer. So I'm going to keep my ball of my toe just barely touching. Spine is lengthened, holding that. If you can do it without your carriage slowly closing and take it away, if your carriage is on a flat level, more than welcome to try that. Switch sides. Bird dog. I've done this before, but apparently there is a slow incline right where I've got the reformer on today. Hold it for 30 seconds. Engage that glute. Make it a real time and focus to organize your body. Glute, ab, Latin pec on that arm, shoulders organized, and stretch. Drop to knees. Sit back in your heels, arms on the frame, child's pose stretch. All right, let's go ahead and get onto hands and knees one more time. Excuse me, got a little frog in my throat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one foot on the gray strip. I'm going to organize my upper body. Bend the knee slightly. Be very careful. I do not want you going into the well. And then slowly lift up and extend out. Just hold that plank. If this is too much on your wrist, go to a forearm. If this hurts your back and you need to bring it down, toes back to the ground. 20 seconds. Knee on bed, the other knee on the bed. Child's pose stretch off your wrist. Now, unless you are 100% confident that you are not going to compromise your shoulder integrity or your spine integrity, you can do toes on bar. If not, please, feet on gray strip, where we just were, or feet on the ground. So I am on 2, and you need to be super careful when mounting. If you don't have that secured foot, you could simply go down. So do not do this unless you're 100% secure. If you are in toe socks, those grippy socks that have worn down, please take them off because the grippy socks can be slippery when they get older. All right, so I'm lifting up. Once my knee is off, bring my leg back and hold for 30. This can also be done on the forearms on the log box. So modify how you need it. If you want to challenge yourself, but your wrists don't like this load, then just do it on the box. 15 seconds. 5, 4, 3, and rest. Let's go ahead and slowly come up. If you cannot take your foot bar vertical, do this version outside, and I'll show you. You can do it standing here and stretch down. If you have the foot bar that can go vertical and it's not too tall based on your reformer height, let's take it to 1. It works better for taller clients and myself. I like it based on where I'm going to go with this stretch. All right, make sure this baby is out of your way, so push it all the way back. Underhand or overhand is up to you. I'm going to show you under. I believe that's how it is in the book as well, but I believe in the book we're facing out. So nice extension of the hips, chest, shoulders. Flex the hip, drop down, and let yourself hang, and then back up. Flex at the hips, flex at the spine, and then hang away and back up. And let's do another 3. Flex at the hips to your max, flex at the spine and drop down. And 2 more. Parallel feet or wide turned out, whatever feels best for you. 2, and up, and 1, and up. Excellent. Turn around, adjust your foot bar based on your height. If you're out there, you should be fine. If you're in standard height, lower it down if you need to. Take one leg into a pigeon stretch, put it on the bar. If this is uncomfortable for you, you can always lower the foot down instead of having it up. And you can, as I mentioned earlier, you can quarter turn, putting it there. Pad the bar if necessary. If not, and you feel great, and you want a deeper stretch, flex at the hips, and then take your hand and rotate. And back up. Flex at the hips. Rotate, hand down to frame, and up. 3 more. 2, 1, and switch. Flex at the hips and rotate for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 more. Going where it feels good, always going where the stretch is here in the hip, never at the knee. Adjust your body according. Let's go ahead and sit back in our hips, give ourselves a nice little stretch. Shift your hips left and right. When I shift them, I'm always reaching that sitting bone away instead of crunching and collapsing on the side. So I'm reaching my left instead of crunching in my right. And then I reach my right instead of crunching in my left. All right. So let's do a little bit of strength just to finish off with. Foot bar push-ups. Let's do 10 full chest contact. If you cannot lower, please put 1 foot underneath. I want full range. I see a lot of this with newer students or visiting students, and we'll always tell them, make sure you get full range. So let's do 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and rest for 30 seconds. Let your body recover. I'm going to show you a couple different hand and arm variations. So the next one we're going to do is like a diamond push-up on the floor. So you make a diamond out of your hands, put them on the bar, and then hold the bar. Step back. Chest is always over your hands. Bring your elbows down to a low V and press up. Please spot yourself if needed with the foot for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And recover. Next one is going to be an overhand underhand. You can modify it how wide and narrow you want on the hands. I'm going to start with left overhand wide and right underhand narrow. Give ourselves another 10, 15 seconds of recovery. No sense in going right into it if your body is still like feeling too much discomfort. So let's go left hand wide, overhand, right hand narrow, underhand. Step ourselves back, and let's go ahead and do for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Next one we're going to do right overhand wide, left underhand narrow. Recover for about 30, another 20 seconds. Don't forget, if you want longer durations on this later, or you're struggling at 5 reps, either give yourself longer rest periods between, give yourself a whole minute. Push-ups are not easy for a lot of people. I will tell you, most of my female clients, I will do this every single day, either at the start or at the end of the class, because they need the upper body strength. And this is a great way to build it. And different hand positions is super important because we're not always holding our bags or something on our hand the same way and at the same position. So always make sure you play around with your hand positions and give yourself duration, better, longer durations. And I recommend push-ups every single day. All right, so let's go. Left is underhand narrow, right is overhand wide for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and rest. Last but not least, we're going to do an underhand narrow, not like the diamond where they were all the way here, but underhand rib distance apart, I guess I'm going to say. We don't want to go out to shoulders, but it's pretty narrow. So I always say put your hands here, inner ribs tight, up to the wrist, up to the ribs, rest for another 20 seconds. So basically, recapping while we're resting, a lot of flexibility in today's class, really understanding how to keep that carriage in control in a lot of the movements. So play around with them. You can also, if you're going to take some components from this class, do them with springs, medium spring, do the exercise with light spring, and then do the exercises with no springs. You don't have to do a full no springs class, but I actually like to do it for a couple of reasons. Like I mentioned before, it's going to change up how we're moving and take our concentration in. And also, two, it's going to allow our students to feel what it's like to do something without any support. Because I had one person say, hey, Sean, you shouldn't do it with no springs. You really need those springs for feedback. And I said to this person, okay, next time you go into the kitchen and you're going to clean up and you're going to do dishes, I want you to put springs around your wrists and around your legs. And then tell me, is it necessary? It's not. It's not necessary to have springs all the time. No one goes around in their everyday life and does everything with springs attached. So remember, if some teacher says you can only do it with springs, you can always counter them and use that example of, I don't do things outside of the Pilates studio without springs. So remember, springs are helpful. They're a way to teach, but sometimes you have to take it off and experience movement and have that control. So let's do our last one. Hands, shoulder distance apart, or rib distance apart. Walk ourselves out underhand for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and up. Let's go ahead and do one little last stretch. We did it, I believe, with the foot on the long box when we started. Now let's do it bird perch the toe over. The great thing about this is you can add a little rotation. If you do not have the toe flexibility to bird perch, please do the foot on the gray strip. And also too, if having the leg up in this position is too much for your inner thigh muscles, lower it down to the frame. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this arm up, engage the standing glute. I'm going to side bend, but I'm going to initiate with the flex of the hip. So I don't want to bend as I go with the waist. I want to really get that nice stretch. And then I'm going to rotate and take the arm behind me and then back up. So let's do that again. Initiate with the hip flex. Then lower down, lumbar flexion, and then continue. Arm goes around you to counterweight and rotate and back. Let's do one more like that. Flex at the hips, flex at the waist, and then rotate. You can thread it through if you have that coordination and balance. Let's do the other side. Bird perch that toe. Open the hip at a quarter turn so we're not facing. Leg is on the bar. You can adjust the bar lower. And let's go ahead and arm up. Sorry, wrong arm. Flex at the hip. Ooh, that's tight. Flex at the waist. And rotate. Arm goes behind and back up. All right, let's do two more. Flex at the hips. Flex at the waist. And rotate. There we go. Last one. Flex at the hips. Flex at the waist. Arm is going to reach out to counterweight us as our left threads through. There we go. Finally got one decent one. I'm really tight on that side. So if you're going to do that variation, just make sure you always keep a hand on the frame if you feel you're going to lose that balance and coordination and control. Thanks so much for joining me for this full 50-minute no springs class. I'll definitely do more in the future. And some of the classes you'll notice are going to be more heavy on flexibility, core control, and some are going to be, I'm going to pull some hand weights out. We're going to do some more higher level strength oriented, but it's always important when you're experiencing no springs to experience it, the mid to lower level exercises. I had a couple higher level with some of the plank variations too, and there's so much you can do. If you watch some of the other flow series, look at the flow series that I have and look at some of them and say, hey, can I try that with no springs? Or can I do this one flow with medium springs, do it again with light springs, and then see how many of those exercises I can incorporate with no springs and play around with that. It's kind of fun to do. It's limitless what you can do with or without springs. Thanks for watching.